What's up, guys? Grab that coffee out. We're heading toward fourth quarter, and this is the E-eCommerce Show, and your host, David Aladdin. We are live at the International Command Center, Outpost 48, Podcast 48. I've built this show to jump past the basics and into the front lines of Amazon, selling, and e-commerce. Let's be the Thomas Edisons of Amazon. Let's be visionaries. Let's push ourselves to hit our limits and exceed our own expectations. I look to understand the person, their strategies, their secrets, so that all of us can build leaner and better businesses. Today's sponsor is E-eCommerce VIP, which is Keyword King, Product Hunter, and a data analytic tool to better optimize your Amazon listings. Stay tuned for a big announcement coming soon. And today, we've got a special guest on the show. His name's Chad Rubin. He started Crucial Vacuum in 2008. Crucial Vacuum, along with his other brands, Crucial Air and Crucial Coffee, reached a revenue growth of $8 million in 2015. And in 2013, he co-founded Skubana, an all-in-one intelligent e-commerce platform. Great to have you on the show, Chad. Let's go to the beginning of Chad Rubin, before the empire became what it is today. What year did it begin and how?
Sure, Dave, and thanks for having me on the show. Hi, everybody on Periscope and everyone that's listening in. My journey really began, my parents were entrepreneurs in their own right with a vacuum cleaner store back in, as I was growing up. And so they were going at it, they were really doing not so great. Walmart showed up not so far from where they were, and the dynamics of purchasing changed. So I never wanted to actually own my own business, so I decided to go onto Wall Street because I saw them struggle and making ends meet or not making ends meet. So I decided to go onto Wall Street, and I started covering internet stocks and giving advice to hedge funds, investors to buy, sell, or short various stocks like Bankrate or Amazon or eBay. And so I said to my parents, you guys need to be really getting on the internet. And they never did. And so then I just decided to start a direct-to-consumer business.
I feel like I've done the same. My parents are old school.
And so I started direct-to-consumer business, and then I subsequently have started Skubana, which is a software business. So I've been really moving forward, focusing really solely my life on e-commerce.
What year did you jump into Wall Street?
Wall Street, let's see, I graduated college. I'm dating myself right now.
That's good. We like to build the timeline, see how things progress.
2006, which the market was booming. I started on Wall Street. I graduated college early. I went to University of Massachusetts in Amherst and worked on Wall Street up until getting laid off 2009, Friday the 13th.
Oh, so that dip in the economy actually affected your decisions.
The dip in the economy actually didn't quite impact my decisions. The dip in the economy changed the way I viewed my work-life balance, and also for me, I was never about picking my job. I always picked my boss. So my boss was let go, who really was out to help me and see me thrive. And I got a new boss who had no intention of seeing me thrive and grow, right? He just wanted to kind of keep me down with like a glass ceiling. So for me, actually, a lot of things changed, but like losing a boss who I respected changed my direction for the better.
I see. So hang on a second. I just got this call coming in. Just cancel that. Okay. So in 2009, you were pivoted and you started taking life into your own hands, right? You started making your own, path through life, your own businesses. And so is that when the e-commerce stuff started to happen?
So, yeah, I was working on it a little bit during the office hours, right? I was working from 7 a.m. till 2 a.m. and I would squeeze in a little bit of my own ideas into my corporate life, and that's how I've moved and migrated into being an entrepreneur and building up my own business.
That's how it starts. I know, like myself, I used to do the 8 to 5 and then the 6 to 2 a.m. And so I can totally relate to that. Okay, and then so I'm guessing during that after-hour phase, you're starting to pull in money, which is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, and so when did you pull the trigger on finally quitting your job and going full time?
So actually, I was fired from my job, and which was the best thing that ever happened to me. That door closed, another door opened, And I started making an income. I mean, when I first started, I started making income right away. You have to remember that back in 2008 was before Amazon got extremely competitive, and there's all these courses out there that taught private labelers how to copy other sellers that are on Amazon today. So Amazon wasn't this sexy machine making thing that it is today. It was a different environment.
Mm. What do you see the differences between now and then, and you're actively still selling on Amazon? I think I checked some of your brands out, correct?
Yep, I'm still on Amazon. It's all automated. I now have I just hired a second employee for my business, but I have 2 employees running a very large business, not just on Amazon, right? Because I know you're focused on Amazon, but like I sell on 18 different channels.
Awesome. We're definitely Let's get into that in a little bit. We do focus fully on Amazon, but we do the whole e-commerce expansion that Skubana actually serves. Amazon's the first platform. We also focus on the website as our secondary core platform, and then from there, I think it would be great if you could share advice specifically on how you expanded into other channels. What channels work the best.
Sure. Well, let me just ask your first question was how are things different? And back in the day, and it was just 2008, so it's only been 8 years, which is actually a lot in the world of e-commerce. Essentially, there wasn't as many private labelers. There wasn't many at all, actually. People were still figuring out the internet and Amazon's marketplace, which is like the wild, wild west. Now, like, it's very public and very open that, like, there's so many Amazon sellers out there. There's over 2 million. Mm. So the dynamic has certainly changed on Amazon, and it's getting harder and harder to make money on Amazon today.
I agree and disagree with that, because I feel like there's so many different ways you can go into Amazon. Specifically, just lately, I've gone into new categories, and I've noticed the absence of competition in some of them, especially within certain specific categories and types of products. You might only have like 4, like for example, if the product was a pencil, there might be only like 4 to 5 pencil brands that are selling, and that's not a lot of brands when you're serving an entire country. When you first started, did you see like a lot of competition, or how did that go?
No, there was no competition when I started. That's what I'm saying, that yes, it's nice to make money on Amazon, but you have to go after niches. Like, you can't just go after a spatula anymore, or a silicon mat, or like a garlic press and be like, okay, that's my niche, because that's not niche enough right now. And in the environment that we're playing in on Amazon, which is a only strong will survive environment, that's what I think 2016 is. Like, you need to start finding products that you want to move into that are niches.
Good, yeah.
And also that solve problems. So, like, it's just becoming very commoditized right now.
Okay, so when I was looking you up, I noticed you have an entire design office rather than a warehouse. Is that correct?
I have a amazing office in New Jersey that I did design. It's fun. It's a very playful environment, yes.
I guess, can you describe the office rather than, because most of the people here won't be able to see the image. I would say it's very designer friendly. It's kind of like it's almost like a Google office, right?
Totally, just like a Google office. We have Lego, we have Nerf guns, we have an espresso machine, we have a phone booth.
It's awesome.
Everyone takes off their shoes before they come in the office, and it's like a dojo.
Do you guys wear suits to work or no?
Very opposite. We're very casual. We want people to feel comfortable, like they're at home. Yeah. That's how we've designed the office. We want you to feel like you're at home, because this is where you're spending a ton of your time. Maybe even sometimes more than what you're spending at home.
I love it. I mean, I could see myself creating like some type of environment in the future for employees to come and love to work rather than come to work and do their 8 hours. So I think that was an awesome move by your part. What about the warehouse versus just the design office? What is the mentality there?
Well, I did have a warehouse, and I outsourced it in 2013. and it was one of the best decisions I've made in my business. And it wasn't even my decision, actually. My wife was like, Chad, you got to get rid of that warehouse like immediately. And so the difference was is that I used to be managing a team of warehouse employees in the metropolitan area, and it's very difficult to manage that certain type of warehouse employee and that many of them. And instead, we led a company who focuses on operations and picking and packing and FBA prep to do what they do, so we can focus on building our business and building our brand and adding listings.
Interesting. Okay. How big was your warehouse at the time?
I want to say it was about 5,000 square feet.
Okay, so that's pretty big.
But our ceilings were like 42 feet high. Like we had super high ceilings, and we stacked and stacked and stacked.
Yeah, and your design office now, how many designers do you have in place?
Well, they're not just designers. I would say that they are operators at heart, right? They're builders and operators.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people here know how to use Photoshop and know how to do design, but like we have a mix. We have a very interesting mix here. Like it's like an incubator. Like we have Skubana employees, who a lot of them I brought over from my e-commerce business. And then we have our Crucial employees. We just have two people at Crucial. Both know how to do design, but both are actually doers, right? They just get shit done.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that goes into like, let's talk about hiring employees for your business. What type of requirements did you set these guys to go through?
I mean, look, we keep it very casual. We have a lounge in our office space where we bring them in. And there's really the requirements are really like, you got to just want to hustle. That's really it. Mm-hmm. And you have to have some self-awareness as well. And we like people that have a founder's mindset.
Very
so
cool.
With that, and there's a lot of things that we look for when we are hiring, but we try to ask questions that get to the heart of, like I said, self-awareness, founder's mindset, hustler. Do they want to really work their butt off and make more money? And if so, our interests are aligned.
Awesome. Okay, it's good to know. Let's pivot into design. What kind of products do you look for? How do you design for your future up and coming products?
So I am a firm believer, and I don't know if you actually saw ahead of this interview that I came out with a book called Cheaper, Easier, Direct.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the book, I talk about sort of three-step process, which is validation. How do you discover an idea first? How do you validate it? And then how do you execute on it? And a lot of it is around my secret sauce and how I've built my Amazon business today to where it is. But to answer it quickly and succinctly for you, the discovery, and I'm trying to take a large book that's all-encompassing and really try to narrow it down to the raw good stuff for you. But it's when you discover a product, like for me, I look at, not only do I look at the amount of reviews, but I also want to be solving a problem, right? And I try to read reviews on Amazon and understand the customer narrative before creating the product. So a lot of Amazon sellers are like, oh, how many reviews does it have? Oh, it's doing well, or like it's in this big niche that's very, very large, a very large category. And I try to, that's my first step, is I look at reviews, I understand what the conversation's like, what's the customer narrative like, and then I go forth with my other processes.
Makes sense. Yeah. What have you seen that failed? Like, let's say, because you've launched a lot of products, what products did you see that weren't really working or didn't fit your product line?
Yeah, so you don't always hit a home run. I have over, I think, 2,000 listings on Amazon, and I'm all my own brand.
Holy cow!
Which is a lot.
Yeah. It takes it takes a while to list. So, I mean, for one listen itself, I mean, I'm spending days on just optimizing it and product images and descriptions and making sure it's directed toward my target audience. So 2,000 listens, I can't even imagine.
How many listens do you have?
Currently, I have about 5, but maybe 6, but on schedule to hit around 17 before October.
Oh, great!
Yeah, just it's been a lot of work in the process, but yeah, I mean, you're hitting about 200 times or about 15 times more.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a whole team in place, but I've also been doing this for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, look, the listing creation is difficult. It's a time-consuming process, but the idea is that if you automate the operations of your business, you can focus on actually your core competency, whether it's building listings or brands. Like that's a higher value activity.
Okay, let's talk about that. What tasks do you actually leverage other people to do?
Well, so I try to see what I can automate with technology. So I built a software that will literally algorithmically create you a purchase order awaiting your approval. So instead of like going through all your data, now you have 7 listings and you're going to have 18. That's quite easy to manage, and you can probably forecast correctly. You know, you'll probably use some spreadsheets. You'll figure it out. But at the end of the day, if you have a lot of listings and you sell on a lot of channels, all that velocity going into each marketplace and seeing how many you're selling and trying to forecast based on that, it gets very difficult. So we use a technology stack, and we use Skubana to automate that process. It's just one example, right? Yep. So Skubana will create you a PO at the right time, at the right place, at the right price, with the right quantity, awaiting your approval with a nice bow on top. And we are built for larger sellers, right? People who have more complex issues that they're struggling with, maybe multiple warehouses, they're selling on 20 different channels, and they need an operational system to run their entire business. And that's where we come in.
And it creates that PO, and that PO gets sent to the manufacturer? Is that how?
Yeah, once you authorize it, it gets sent to the manufacturer.
Oh, very cool. It. So it automates yeah, I see. Because that's pretty repetitive, that process.
Another process is I used to have employees looking at all my profitability across all my channels for each SKU. And it used to be very time consuming, and now we've automated that. So for every channel you sell on, for every SKU you have, you know exactly what your profit is with every fee associated with that product. Whether it's FBA fees, your pick fee, your pack fee, your storage fee, your long-term storage fee, your return fee, your cost of the goods sold, for every channel, not just Amazon, right? We're not a one-trick pony. We allow people to sell on multiple channels. That's our focus.
Oh, very cool. That must have been like a nightmare to program.
Actually, I partner with a great guy. We've been building for 3 years, and we're hustling hard. We're building this business, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, when I was messaging him before, I was like, I went to the site Skubana, and it was very solid. I could tell there's a lot of energy and effort and thought that went in, especially into the front page. So pretty cool.
Sure.
Okay, let's talk about your on-site customer acquisition. When someone arrives on one of your actual sites rather than Amazon or some other e-commerce channel, what type of strategies are you using to get them to purchase?
So a couple of things out of the gate. We learn a lot from people who are already crushing it in e-commerce. So I don't even go into retail stores anymore. I shop online, but I shop online not only because it's easier and more convenient, but I also want to know what the best practices are, because these people already have teams in place and they've spent a lot of money figuring it out. So why reinvent the wheel? Mm-hmm. So you go to a website like Chubby's Shorts, for example, and there's a phone number right there, right on their page. So for us, we have a phone number right on our website. Anybody can call and talk to an expert on vacuums any day of the week. We have a live chat. So when they're on page, right, the live chat pops up, and boom, you can now converse with somebody to help you walk you through the process. So all of this is all about trust, right? Like, you are being upfront with your phone number. You're being upfront with the live chat. You're doing everything you can through the buying journey to make it easy for the customer, where it's a no-brainer and they want to buy from your site.
Very cool. All right, so a lot of this stuff is, you'd think it would be like common sense, but a lot of people don't do it. And I guess in respect to the phone number and the live chat, do you have some type of service that you use where people are responding to that live chat, or do you just outsource that to a virtual assistant? What's your strategy there?
No, we have a customer support team. We have 2 in the Philippines that do emails and phone support for us. We're using Zopim Live Chat as our live chat service, the way to communicate.
Awesome. That's pretty. Yeah.
We're using Fusion, Excelco Fusion for our CRM. So essentially, if someone like emails in, they get canned responses that we've set up, and all the data, orders, and everything is pushed through our app store into Excelco Fusion's CRM software.
Excelco Fusion. Okay. See, whenever I talk to talk to bigger business sellers, you guys have your virtual assistants down and you're outsourcing on point. So I'm always curious, like how you guys have your system set up. So, I'm scaling my business properly as well. And same with our audience.
And is this your full-time job?
Yeah.
Amazon?
Yeah. Yep. So.
Great.
Yeah. So let's actually go back to that. What year did you start full-time on Amazon and your e-commerce business?
Right when I really got let go on the street, which was the 13th of February, Friday the 13th, 2009. That was like full time.
Was it really Friday the 13th?
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool.
It was 2 weeks after I got engaged to my wife.
Okay, so you've been
Crazy.
Full time selling for 8 years. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And longer than that, actually, because I was doing a lot of stuff before in the background.
Yeah, and so a lot of entrepreneurs, they start random business. They just shoot businesses. Like they create businesses that they hope that'll work, and they won't stop doing it until one actually works. Did you just hit the right business right away?
I think it's a combination of a blessing and being in the right place at the right time, but also putting in a lot of time myself and hustling. So I would attribute it to it was very early. It was the early on days of selling on Amazon, but also I was working just like I was working from 7 to 2 a.m. on Wall Street. I was working even harder for myself, and I continuously am working hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like that has not stopped.
Agreed. I don't think I talk about it a lot in our podcast that it's like playing a game of soccer that never ends. Like you just enjoy it and it doesn't feel like work to you. I think you kind of fit that mold. Is that correct? Like you don't see it as work; it's just continuous fun.
This is a recreational hobby for me that just happens to be making money for me.
Yeah, agreed.
And so also I was grown up, like my parents, I had to grow up very, very at a young age. Like my parents were struggling, and literally we would be eating dinner, and cash and money and what are we going to do and how we're going to pay the mortgage was part of my adolescence. Mm. So I don't really know anything better. Like if you grow up and you're loved all the time, like you're going to always, like that's your language, you're speaking love. Like I grew up on business and I speak the language of business.
Mm. Okay, let's pivot and let's talk about your brands and your brand strategy. You started out with Crucial Vacuum. Was that
Yes.
That's correct? I noticed you have a lot of very custom products, very specialty products, niche products within the vacuum industry. Can you talk more about that, the strategies that you used there and why you did it?
Well, I think unsexy businesses are sexy businesses in a way. Yeah. And it's counterintuitive, but it's true. It's like jumbo shrimp. So I picked it because I knew about it. I knew about the vacuum industry from my parents. So that was my sort of foray into the business. And then I knew about e-commerce because I learned about it on Wall Street. So I took what I knew and what I was, not quite what I was passionate about, but what I was brought up with, and I mixed it together to move into this business. That's just how I started. But since then, we've expanded. Like you said, I have multiple different brands, and I've replicated the same success in many other verticals. And when I first started, nobody was doing this, and now there's tons of copycats. So it took the first copycat 6 years to do what I was doing.
That's awesome. That's actually incredible that you had that much time, between your first brand and then the copycats coming in. So
Right. And now it's three. It's about a 3 month lead time now on Amazon until people copy you.
not even. Uh, um, okay, so what are your strategies around copycats? Do you do anything to deal with them? Is there something that you try to like? How have you been dealing with it?
So that's a very interesting topic, and for copycats alone, right? There's nothing you can do, right? Because they're gonna always underprice you. The only thing you can do is build a brand,
Yeah.
make really good listings, and maybe they'll even copy your listings. And so there's what I call the Amazon product death cycle. And over time, certain products do die and wither away in terms of profit margin, or the price is just so low where you just don't want to grow anymore. And so for me, my strategy really is doing what Wayne Gretzky suggests, which is you always want to go to where the puck is going, not where the puck is.
Mm.
So I'm constantly innovating. And Apple, like big companies do this all the time. You look at Apple; they were the first company to come out with a touchscreen phone.
Yep.
And then
It's pretty
they
epic.
knew they knew they only had a 6 month lead time until Google copied them, right? And Motorola copied them. So by that point, they're already doing the iPhone 2, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you know how the story unravels. So they're constantly iterating, constantly going to where the puck is going versus staying stagnant where everything is today.
Do you have an example of a product that was copied a lot? So I don't want you to tell your product that wasn't. And then how you reiterated on it to prevent the competition from keeping up.
It's not really reiterating on a product itself. Well, actually, you could reiterate on a product, and you can make it better. You can make it more premium. You can make it more deluxe.
Mm-hmm.
But for the purpose of this conversation, it's about moving into products where there's not a lot of people doing it. Like you said, you're going after very niches of niches of niches.
Mm.
So like I might go onto Reddit sometimes and just go into different hobbyist groups and see what are they complaining about. Oh, my drone part is really expensive. And so I'm like, okay, drones, interesting. That's a very interesting market. Seems like there could be some replaceable stuff there. There could be something I can help with, add value with, and that's how I come up with a lot of the products.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. And then, at what point did you decide to create your next brand? Because I guess a lot of people always want to focus on one brand. What made you decide that you wanted to start 2 private label brands?
Well, the problem is, and maybe this is just a nugget of information to help your audience, is that when you're building a brand, like you have to think broad, and if you think myopically and very narrowly, like Crucial Vacuum did, it really pigeonholed you into Crucial Vacuum. Like I thought that it was going to take me years to disrupt the vacuum industry, and that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So I would suggest people build a brand around a common, like something that where it gives you flexibility and allows you to be nimble to do other things. Because just because you know you're going to be doing this right now, you never know what's going to happen a year from now, 2 years, or 3 years.
So true. In 1 year, I mean, what you were doing last year is probably completely different than what you're doing right now. Especially, I mean, with all the revenue that you're generating, I mean, you're making newer decisions with the cash flow. So.
Yeah, for sure.
I've actually had a lot of insights lately based on newfound cash flow. Can you discuss your decisions, how they changed from when you didn't have much cash flow to when you did have a lot?
So nothing has really changed. I'm always very scrappy. I'm very humble. And again, growing up with nothing, I think I'm always like looking in the rearview mirror and like seeing that. So the only thing I can tell you to do with cash flow is constantly reinvest in your business, which is reinvesting in yourself.
Okay. So
Being very disciplined and reinvesting.
Let's talk. Today's sponsor today is E-eCommerce VIP, which is Keyword King, Product Hunter, and a data analytic tool to better optimize your Amazon listings. Stay tuned for a big announcement coming soon. Talk about sales channels. What types of sales channels are you leveraging? I know you said 18 in the beginning. Which ones do you see performing better than others, and what are some of the like emerging markets that we should be using?
Sure. So the first one, obviously everyone knows Amazon, so we don't even talk about Amazon. But there's a life after Amazon. So I believe in building your own brand. So I believe in building your own shopping cart, whether you use a Shopify or BigCommerce or Magento
Yeah,
combo.
you use Magento, right?
I do use Magento, yes.
Is there any reason why? I've actually never touched that software before.
It's heavy with customizations, and I want to own my own storefront instead of use a software as a service for it. If I had to do it today, I probably would be using a SaaS shopping cart platform out there like BigCommerce or Shopify. But Magento allows you to do customizations that you can't normally do in BigCommerce or Shopify because they're closed platforms.
Yeah.
So your own shopping cart would be important. On top of that, you have the likes of Walmart and Jet.com, which were Walmart just opened up their marketplace and they're growing tremendously. Jet.com was just acquired by Walmart but was growing tremendously. And these are like, I look at selling online like playing Monopoly. You want to be on every piece of the board to win. And so, yeah, if you're on Amazon right now, sure, you're getting good traction. It's super competitive, but there's life off of Amazon where people are shopping offline. And so I want to be everywhere where people are shopping, and that's part of my strategy.
I recently expanded to the Rakuten. Is that how you pronounce that?
Rakuten, yes.
Yeah. I recently expanded to that market, but then I looked up stats, and it's mostly a Japanese audience. Do you find that kind of the same case?
Rakuten, well, first of all, it was bought. It used to be called Buy.com, and they're very focused on electronics. Again, I don't know what you sell. Focusing on electronics, and I do think that there's a lot more. Like, I don't think you're going to see a ton of traction there, especially with only 6 products, especially if it's not electronics. But Jet and Walmart are aggressively trying to build these marketplace businesses and compete with Amazon, and so I think you would have a better place in those marketplaces.
Interesting. Do you know if I'm actually not on Jet or Walmart? I'm guessing you are, right?
Yes.
And would you be able to say what percentage of sales comes from those channels?
I can tell you that only right now 50% of my revenue is coming from Amazon. I think that's a good, healthy number to be at.
That is a very healthy number to be at.
You never want to have 100% of anything, right? You want to be diversified. Like, imagine if you put your life savings in one stock.
Yeah.
Right? You're fully exposed. So you want to diversify away from. You want to have a diversified portfolio of income coming in from many different sources, and that's partly of building a true business off-channel, off Amazon.
Before this interview, I was listening to, you had this YouTube video of, you were talking about SEO and how you're not supposed to create the exact same listings between the marketplace websites like Jet.com and Amazon.com. Can you go more into detail about that?
Yeah, so it's all about creating unique content. So number one, marketplaces are all very different. So what's required on Amazon or what moves the needle for Amazon is different than what moves the needle on Jet or Walmart or any other marketplace. The second thing is that if you're building a brand and you put the same content on every single channel, the same exact content, that's duplicate content, which is a big no-no when it comes to organically ranking. So you need to treat marketplaces, and especially your shopping cart. For your own shopping cart, that's where you put the most robust, unique, curated content, because that's the value of people. When people come to your site, you want to create an experience for them. It's not just the vending machine approach that you experience on, say, an Amazon or an eBay.
See, when I was listening to that, I was expecting like a sales pitch on that YouTube video. But the whole time I'm listening to SEO, organic research, and with websites, it's the same thing. If you create posts and you just shoot them across other websites and post them, you get penalized, and they just don't rank as well. So with products, I agree, it's going to have the same effect, and it's just awesome to hear that kind of advice come first, you know? Yeah,
but it's a super rookie mistake. Like, a lot of these brands are building their brands on Amazon and off Amazon with the same content using like a listing tool and just pushing. They're kind of spraying and praying. They're just pushing the same content and expecting it to work. But like you said, you spend so much time optimizing your listings. So if you're going to optimize your listing and really work from scratch on a listing and build it from the ground up, why are you using a listing tool, right? If you're just going to go in there and change everything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm talking about, that's a high value activity. You want to automate the low value activities as best as you can.
It's like buy low, sell high.
What was that?
It's like the concept buy low, sell high, except when it comes to e-commerce, automate low, do high. Or
exactly.
Hopefully I said that right. Okay, so what other high tasks are you doing that should not be outsourced?
So here's what I would suggest to people, because everyone has like their own stuff that they want to get rid of. Like everyone has a to-do list. Yeah. I'm sure you have a to-do list, but I bet my bippy that you don't have a don't-do list. And you need to look at your life and look at your calendar and sit with your calendar and do an inventory of what you're working on today. What are the things that you're spending your time on that you absolutely hate? The things that just take you so much time that are maybe repetitive or you just don't want to be doing, and try to find alternatives to that, whether it's technology or whether it's human help to automate that. Whereas your time is best spent, say, building listings or building your brand or meeting your goal. You said you wanted to bring your listings from 8 to 18 or 7 to 18 or whatever that number was. Like that's where you need to be spending your time, because you might be able to triple that by getting rid of some of the repetitive low value activities.
The funny thing, when I hear you say that, when I compare my brand to your brand, I feel like 17 is like such a small number now compared to the 2,000 that you have. This whole time I thought 17 was a lot.
But there's no judging. Like some people have 2.
Yeah.
But don't forget, like I'm working my butt off to do it, right? Like I'm constantly curating new products, going to China. Like that drives me tremendously. But on top of that, like I have automated my e-commerce business. Like I'm focused really on my software business right now. That's my 100% dedication and focus. Is I talk to sellers like yourself all day long, and I show them how there's a way to build a business off channel, off Amazon. A lot of them are just 100% on Amazon.
The funny thing is a lot of people aren't even on Amazon. Most of the retail world hasn't gotten there yet. I feel like a lot of brands aren't even on there that have great products.
Yeah, some people actually have a great business off Amazon. That's why I'm saying there is life off Amazon. Look at like Chubby Shorts. Mm-hmm. I think they have a really cool brand, and they're just on Shopify. They sell shorts, cool design, with a very interesting experience when you shop on their site.
I'm actually looking at their website. It looks so...
It's very cool. It's a very cool.
Very good branded website. Yeah, they branded it.
Yeah, sign up for their newsletter. Check it out. It's super interesting. Like they have a Spotify playlist, and they really are a aspirational brand versus just selling some sort of commodity. It reminds me of that's replicatable and duplicatable on Amazon.
It reminds me of that brand that just got bought out, the Dollar Beard Club or the Dollar Shave Club. One of the two.
Yeah, it's Dollar Shave Club.
Yeah. It's just, they're making a big statement about something, it's serious and like in a serious tone, but not so serious. It's very cool. Do you know the owner of that website?
I've been in touch with them,
cool,
but I don't know him personally.
Okay, so let's talk about, before we go into the software side, what did you do to create 2,000 listens? That's no small task. What things did you expedite about that sequence?
I think building a foundation is important, operational foundation. I think hiring the right people is important. I think going after the right product range is important. Like there's so much, it takes so much to build a brand. So there's not like one thing that got me to 2,000 listings. It was over time, just a lot of sweat, a lot of hustle, and really doing my research and my diligence. I
find, listing on other web platforms, that actually takes a significant amount of time and slash learning curve between, from marketplace to marketplace. When it comes to that, do you have like a special person for each marketplace that does those tasks, or what do you think would make that process easier?
We have one person. Literally, I just hired my second person at Crucial now. So I have a marketing person and I have like an operations person. And they share the responsibilities of building up the brand, the websites, and the marketplaces. Like everyone has a shared common goal. But like a lot of these sellers out there today, I think there's some sort of silver bullet to finding the right product, what category to get into. They like pay all this money for product research courses. They pay all this money for product research tools and software. And like, I didn't use any of these softwares doing this.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. I mean, there's a ton of courses nowadays that people are trying to get you to buy. I've actually never used a course either, so a lot of webinar products too. I don't know if you've seen them. So what's your vision moving forward with Amazon and with software? I guess let's do one at a time.
So the vision moving forward with Amazon is it's going to continuously get crowded on the marketplace. So you need to be going after, you need to solve problems. You need to be going after where nobody is. That's what I think should happen on Amazon, right? We don't need more garlic presses on Amazon. So that's number one. For software, like again, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to capitalize on a lot of these sellers that are new to Amazon selling, and they're going to target their fears of, like, for example, product research. Like, I think product research tools are important, but that's not the only thing. Like, there's using technology, and then there's also using your brain, and you need to actually use both to decide and be practical about what you want to make and manufacture.
In terms of the software you're creating, what type of things do you see need to be solved with selling on all these different channels?
Well, you need to have it's like building a house. You need to have the right foundation. So a lot of the softwares out there are really just features, right? They only work on Amazon. They're a one-trick pony, or they only do one thing. And so we take all the features and we created a solution, right? We allow you to run your entire business after somebody checks out across every marketplace and every shopping cart. So it's a scalable software that empowers you to literally scale your revenue, but also make sure you're making money at the same time. So nobody else is doing this today, right? This is a very sophisticated software, really built specifically for a medium to high volume seller who has, say, a lot of marketplaces, a lot of warehouses, a lot of users, a lot of orders, and they want to automate it with technology. They're not just an FBA seller, right? But they want to, and we do multi-channel fulfillment, right? We do 5 different fulfillment methods. Right? You can multi-channel fulfill, you can do your 3PL, you can print shipping labels, you can drop ship. We bring all your FBA orders in, but we do everything else you need, right? Inventory management, purchase order, algorithmically, vendor management, analytics, all in one platform, all in the cloud. Like nobody has that.
How long did that take to make?
So DJ's a co-founder and partner in the business, and he came to my warehouse in 2013, right before I outsourced it, and was like, oh my God, I thought there was going to be robots here in your warehouse. And like, what is going on? And so I showed him all the software that was out there, and there's a lot of software that says they do what we do, and essentially they're just big misses. And so the problem, and there's a lot of fragmentation. Like there's a software that does inventory, there's a software that does shipping, there's a software that does purchase orders, and you still need spreadsheets, and then you don't have any unified data. So DJ approached me, and we decided to work on this together, and we were like, why don't we create an all-in-one system to manage your entire business, fully focused on direct-to-consumer companies, selling online.
That's definitely a huge undertaking. Mainly because a lot of businesses focus on smaller parts of it, and then it's one thing to build a piece of software, it's another thing to make sure that it works the way it's supposed to work. And so I guess to be able to put all of that together, I'm sure there must have been some challenges. Um, what do you guys struggle with?
What do we struggle with at Skubana or?
Yeah, when you're creating such a massive product like Skubana, well, you know, I'm sure there's tons of problems that come up, you know, that you guys are trying to solve every day. I guess how are you guys managing that workflow and processing all the different types of systems that you have in place?
All right, so that's a pretty large question, but I would say my biggest problem right now is, so there's two groups of people. You have the people that have tried all the other softwares in the market that are really, really cynical.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these softwares overpromise and underdeliver, and they've been burned, and they're like, wait a minute, you're claiming to do this. Are you sure you're the real thing? And so we need to literally jujitsu a lot of the BS that's out there and literally show people and handhold them through the process of like, hey, we are real. Our software can support your business. It's not just a bunch of smoke and mirrors. This is not just lipstick on a pig. And like, we're the real thing. Mm-hmm. So that's a big challenge for us. So that's like a branding thing, is how do we cut through a lot of the noise? Because there's like 20 different players out there in the space. All of them are fragments. Mm. So that's big for us, and I'm not trying to chop down their tree. For me, I just want to win, and I want to help sellers. That's why I wrote a book. That's why I built the software. That's why I teach in New York City. I'm just all about wanting to help people and not lose money, time, or hair, which I've lost plenty of.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, let's talk more about you, the entrepreneur. How's your day look like? Are you more of like a night person? Are you more of a morning person?
I've been working on my schedule for a long time. Think about it. I run 2 businesses. I also manage some real estate at the same time. Cool. Things are just like, it's insane. It's really, really hard. So and my wife's a yoga instructor, and actually she's a yoga studio owner. So she's an entrepreneur too.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's interesting. So we're constantly working on.
Go ahead.
What was that?
I was gonna say, is her studio connected to your design office?
So no. I mean, sometimes she uses some of my employees to like help out or do like a photo shoot, okay. But it's separate. But we lend each other hands. Like, we're both partners in life and business and everything. So for us, like for me, I've been focusing a lot on how do I build the life I want to live, and what do I need to do to do that, right? Because there's more to life than just running a business. Where do I want to be giving back? How do I want to be taking care of my body, right? And like my health and the future, and like building a family. And so I just had a nice long week. My wife went away to a yoga festival, and she also volunteers at a camp for Crohn's and colitis. And I had the week to like literally spend and think about, okay, how do I improve my life where I'm not working as much, but I'm more efficient in the time that I am working?
I feel like that question is like the golden question.
It is the golden question, and for me, I decided that every day up until 11 o'clock is my time, and like I should not book anything during that time. And it's so far it's working, right? So I spend the time either reading, or I can go to the gym, I can meditate.
Up to 11 a.m.
Up to 11 a.m. My assistants do not schedule anything on my calendar.
So before 11 a.m., that's like the educational hours or gym, or, you know, it's you time. Is that correct?
Up to 11 o'clock is my time, and sometimes I need to compromise it, but I typically try not to compromise it.
What about any books that you recommend? What podcasts do you listen to, or what do you do for education?
I read. I really like to dig into reading. Podcasts for me, like it's a lot of time, and I feel like there's a lot of pretenders out there, and a lot of proclaimed gurus in the space, and I just like to read. So I like a great book. So I mean, what really got me started in my journey was the 4-Hour Workweek, which is just, I think that's typical. But then I've read a lot of other books like Virtual Freedom, Gary Vaynerchuk, The Thank You Economy, Jab, Jab, Right Hook, which was a game changer. Yeah. I also wrote my own book, Cheaper, Easier, Direct. But like I liked a lot of self-improvement books. That's just where I gravitate towards.
Just a side note, what do you think of the 4-hour work week? I think it's not realistic.
I don't think it's realistic, but I think it's a nice mindset. And also, like, I had a friend that just actually told me they just read it, and he was inspired by it. And I think that in itself, inspiration from a book could do wonders and like change the game for you and the course of your destiny as you progress through life. So like, yeah, the principles to me are intact. I like the sound of it, of 4-hour work week, but it's just not where I'm at right now. It's just not. I think Gary Vaynerchuk's the actual opposite, right? He's like, you need to be working from this time to this time, and like that's a competitive advantage, and you'll beat your competition. And I think there's actually a nice balance in the middle. Like, I think Gary Vee is on one end of the spectrum. I think Tim is on the other.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I think you just need to be balanced, which is healthy.
Where do you see yourself? I feel like you're more on the Gary Vee side. What do you think?
I'm probably, I would agree with you.
All right, we've got about 5 minutes left. Is there anything that I missed out? Anything that you want to say? Contact information?
Yeah, of course. So I appreciate everyone for joining. You can always email me. I am hyper responsive. My email is chad@skubana.com. skubana.com. You can check out my book on Amazon, Cheaper, Easier, Direct. And let me know if I can help you.
Awesome. Any closing statements? You should see it. Like, I had a guest on the show the other day, and I don't know where he came up with it, but he had like this ridiculous closing statement. Like, it was like a speech. So now I actually asked to see if, I don't know, someone comes out with a killer closing statement again. But
yeah, look, I think if you're a seller that's only selling on Amazon today and you want to exist and build a legacy, I would suggest not just private labeling on Amazon, but building a brand. I would probably focus on problems and then come up with your ideas and your new products, focusing on new angles, look for new innovations, and be self-aware. Look at vulnerabilities around your life and your business and see how you can execute on them. And I think that's the way you're going to win and build a winning business, not just on Amazon, but in e-commerce in general.
And I've noticed throughout this podcast that it's not all, I mean, one of the key points that you've been mentioning is it's not about just selling on Amazon. It's about diversifying your products or more like your brand in different spectrums of the web. So,
look, Amazon's a great place to start, but you don't want to finish on Amazon.
Awesome. Well, Chad, it's been awesome having you on the show, and thanks for sharing all your expertise and your time.
Of course, happy to be here, and thank you so much.
Thanks. David Aladdin, Chad Rubin, out. Today's sponsor is AMZ Secrets Keyword King. What if you could sell 10 more units per day on Amazon, or 100 more units per day? The key to selling more on Amazon is driving more traffic to your Amazon listing that's related to your listing. Reviews help, yes. Quality photos help, yes. However, increasing relevant traffic is king. The only way to sell 100 more units per day is having at least 100 more people visit your listing per day. Keyword King leverages smart algorithms to assist you in building the best keyword lists for all your products. Not only will you hit 5,000 characters total and 1,000 characters per line in the back end for your Amazon listing, you will do so knowingly with the best combination of words. Right now, you might have 3,000 characters filled up, and that's pretty darn good. But you really don't know for sure, and you should actually be at 5,000 characters. It's tiring, time-consuming, and cramped in Amazon's back end. Keyword King performs many tasks on the fly, live, while you are building your list, and ensures your list is as powerful as can be. It intelligently eliminates spaces, duplicate keywords, and other negative things that would hurt your sales. You can save an infinite amount of keyword lists, return to them later, and compare which lists are performing best for your products. Best of all, it allows for a one-click translation of your first and second rows to your fourth and fifth rows in Spanish. Over 55 million potential U.S. shoppers are Hispanic in the U.S., and they type directly into Amazon in Spanish. These keywords are often untargeted and easy sales to add to your bottom line. It does this all while applying smart keyword cleaning algorithm. In the end, organic traffic to your listing is free. Getting free high-quality traffic is the way to build sustainable, long-term Amazon businesses. Keyword King will destroy your competition. Using EMZSecrets.com. Guys, I hope you guys loved the podcast as I did. Be sure to join our Facebook Mastermind secret group at amzsecrets.com/FB. It would help tremendously. Also, if you could leave a quick review on iTunes. Every question has an answer for Amazon, and finding the right one is critical to your success. AMZSecrets.com does this, and it does it all for free. So why not? See you guys all there. This podcast has been directed by David Aladdin, a global king in logistics, strategy, and secrets. David Aladdin, out.